Good evening, everybody. It is 7 o'clock on Monday, October 20th, and we'll call this Sault Ste. Marie City Commission meeting to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Bospas-Rath.
Here.
Commissioner Talentino.
Here.
Commissioner Habusta.
Here.
Commissioner Marble.
Here.
Commissioner Rubenstein.
Here.
All are present. Could everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Good to see a sellout crowd in the building. Have one comment under Mayor's comments. And you may have seen, but we have a 68-foot tall Sault Ste. Marie spruce that will be on display this winter in Lansing for the holiday season. Please join City of Sault Ste. Marie on Thursday, October 30th at 10 a.m. as the official State of Michigan Christmas tree is harvested from a local residence in Sault Ste. Marie. It's a huge honor for Sault Ste. Marie to be represented on a state level during the holidays. The harvest ceremony will take place at the donor's residence on Minneapolis Street. We'll be joined by bands from Sioux Area High School and Lake Superior State University. We recommend anyone looking to attend to arrive prior to 10 a.m. since parking will be limited. The donation is being made by Linda Reed in honor of her grandparents, Lawrence and Nettie Ritchie. Following the brief ceremony, once the tree is harvested on Thursday, it will be transported on Friday to the lawn of the Capitol. Once in Lansing, the tree will be lit up on November 21st during Lansing's Silver Bells in the City celebration. A special thank you to the Michigan Department of Technology, Management, and Budget Office, Michigan Association of Timbermen, and the Great Lakes Timber Professionals Association for the selection process, along with harvesting and transporting the spruce. With that, we'll move into our item B, which is proclamations and recognitions. Deputy City Manager, Acting City Manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. First item up under proclamations and recognition is presentation of commendation to Captain Kristen Ator, and I'm going to turn it over to Police Chief Wes Bierling.
Good evening.
Evening, Chief.
Thank you for this opportunity to come and here today and to acknowledge and congratulate some fantastic work by our staff at the police department. First, I have a departmental accommodation to award to Captain Kristen Ator. It is with great pride that the department formally recognizes Captain Kristen Ator for her exceptional professionalism, leadership, and unwavering commitment to the mission of public safety. Over the course of her career as a detective sergeant, and now captain, Captain Tor has consistently played a central role in the planning, coordination, and execution of some of our community's largest and most complex public events, including the I-500 race, Lake Superior State University graduation, Engineers Day, the 4th of July parade and fireworks, the International Bridge Walk, and the Festival of Races. Each of these events presents significant operational and public safety challenges, and through her extensive experience, strategic insight, and careful oversight, Captain Tor has assured their successful execution and the safety of all participants. When challenges arise, Captain Tor demonstrates exceptional leadership and sound judgment, drawing on years of experience at multiple levels of responsibility. She develops operational plans, coordinates personnel, and oversees field operations with meticulous attention to detail and forward-looking approach. Her ability to anticipate potential issues and implement practical solutions and guide others through complex situations sets a high standard of professionalism and inspires confidence among her colleagues. In recognition of her steadfast service, exceptional dedication, and meaningful contributions both to the department and the community, it is an honor to present Captain Kristen Ator with this formal commendation. Through her extensive experience, strategic foresight, and consistent leadership, she exemplifies the highest standards of public service. Her efforts reflect a servant mentality while fully embracing the responsibilities of protecting the community and its visitors, demonstrating unwavering dedication to the department and those it serves. Congratulations. And next, I'd like to issue an award, a merit commendation to Officer Trevor Atkins. It is with great pride that the department formally recognizes Officer Trevor Atkins for his exceptional professionalism, dedication, and unwavering commitment to public safety. Over the past several years, Officer Atkins has been instrumental in incident planning and has actively participated in and at times overseen field operations for some of our community's most significant events, including I-500 Snowmobile Race, Lake Superior State University graduation, Engineers Day, the 4th of July Parade and Fireworks, and the International Bridge Walk. Importantly, Officer Atkins has taken on these additional responsibilities outside and on top of his regular duties, further demonstrating his strong work ethic and commitment to the mission of the department. His consistent involvement and hands-on approach have been critical to the successful coordination and execution of these complex events. Officer Atkins consistently demonstrates initiative, adaptability, and thorough understanding of operational procedures, whether contributing to detailed planning, assisting in the deployment of personnel, or supervising field operations when needed. He approaches each assignment with diligence, professionalism, and a strong commitment to the safety of the community. His attention to detail, problem-solving skills, and reliability set a high standard for his peers and make him an invaluable asset to the department. In recognition of his steadfast service, dedication, and meaningful contributions to both the department and the community, it is an honor to present Officer Trevor Atkins with this formal commendation. Through his consistent involvement, practical experience, and proactive engagement, he embodies the principle of service and protection, demonstrating unwavering dedication to the department and the community he serves. Congratulations. Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is item 3. It's promotion recognition, and I'm going to turn this one over to Fire Chief Ed Miller.
Good evening. I have the privilege tonight to talk a little bit about a couple of recent promotions that we have within the fire department and explain the important role that they play within our organization. The role of lieutenant is not an easy one because they are there to support the shift captains, and sometimes they're in charge, sometimes they're working to support the officer in charge for the day. They're responsible for growing responsibilities within the department, tasks, a lot of tasks coming, and projects that help get the department to run. We have these promotions due to retirements. Fred Schneider, lieutenant, retired recently, as well as Jerry Schenectady. And so with our new process, I'm proud to announce that John Duchin is being promoted to lieutenant, as well as Paul Young. A little bit about John. He was hired in January 21st, 2003, which is almost as old as some of our new employees, but that's all right. That's good. I'm older still, so. He was promoted to lieutenant effective September 14th. And just some of the things that put him ready to that position is he has the requirements through the state of Michigan. He has his fire officer, fire instructor, and many other certifications that he's accomplished throughout his career with the city. John is currently responsible in part for our equipment and inventory of our fire apparatus, and he was working on the new truck today that you'll be able to see at the end of the meeting, making sure that it's put together right. So we appreciate his hard work on that. And then Paul Young is back there hiding. 15 years employed with the city. He started on May 17th, 2010, and his official promotion date was September 25th. Paul has the same credentials and requirements that are needed for the position. On top of that, he is responsible for our EMS continuing education and licensing, and he's sort of taking that role over for Captain Kevin Mohar. So both of them have already accepted a lot of additional responsibilities, so it's great to recognize them tonight with this promotion. Thanks. So, John, come up first. I have somebody helping me tonight, so.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Okay, you gotta look at the camera. I forgot to mention that they are the first two under our new promotional process to undergo a one-year-long probationary period and an extensive task book that they have to accomplish before they can maintain their rank at this level. So they have a lot of work ahead of them. I have no doubt that they'll finish it and complete it, and I know some of them have started it already, so that's great to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, and the next item, item 4, is presentation of Tank of the Year Award, and Water Director Kurt Tews is going to present on this.
Good evening. So this one kind of came as a surprise to us, but here we are. So Tanemic, Tank of the Year. Since 2006, Tanemic has celebrated the innovative and creative uses of its coatings on water tanks in the annual Tank of the Year contest. Each year, a potable water tank from all varieties across the United States and Canada are narrowed down to determine the most impressive coating projects in the water tank industry. And this comes from Tanemic themselves. The Sault Ste. Marie Water Tower, completed by Viking Industrial Painting, proudly displays the map of Michigan's Upper Peninsula with a star marking the historic city. As one of the oldest settlements in the region, Sault Ste. Marie is known for its vibrant connection with both Canada and United States communities. The tower design is a fitting tribute to the city's location, positioned in the heart of the Great Lakes. It was engineered by Nelson Tank Engineering and Consulting, and this landmark serves as a beacon for both locals and visitors alike. Sault Ste. Marie, we were voted the runner-up to the Tank of the Year winner in Grand Prairie, Texas, and we are featured in the Tanemic Tank of the Year calendar as the month of December. On October 3rd, I had the pleasure of being presented an award by Tanemic Coatings representative Brittany Algrim, and here is our award. And we also got a bottle of barbecue sauce, because Tanemic is from Kansas City, and so Kansas City is the barbecue capital of the world. So here's our tank featured in Miss December there, and we'll show you the winner here as well. And Grand Prairie is the winner. So we were voted on, and there was over 300 entries and over 18,000 votes over a period of 2 weeks. So it's a pretty good honor to be one of 300 and some tanks in the United States.
Excellent. Those were great. Certainly, having a strong police and fire department is one of the greatest strengths that a community can have. And on behalf of the City Commission, I want to thank the police and fire personnel for unwavering service to the people in this community. I know they've already gone. And thank you, Kirk, too, for awesome job with the water tank. So we will move on into item C, which is public comment. Is there anybody that would like to reserve time up to 3 minutes to speak on any of our scheduled agenda items? If we can get your name. Yes.
Nancy Rose.
Which item?
I want to speak on what you're going to bring up with the DDA. That's something on the agenda.
Okay.
Something privacy.
The attorney, okay. Got it. That's item F1. Same. Yes.
That same item and also 6 on business items.
Anybody else?
The second reading of, I had a question on your first special order of business.
So you wanted to speak on which one?
The number one, second order, reading of the ordinance.
Okay, so E1 you'd like to speak on? Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we'll move into item D, which is the consent agenda, and with us we have Deputy City Clerk Erica Gordon.
Thank you. First item on consent agenda is the approval of City Commission meeting minutes of October 6th, 2025. Item 2 is the acceptance of the DDA meeting minutes of September 10th, 2025. Item 3 is the reappointment of Patrick Tim McConkey to the Superior District Library Board. Item 4 is consideration of appointment of Sasha Tews to the Police and Fire Pension Board. Item 5 is schedule a public hearing for the November 3rd, 2025 City Commission meeting to consider a request submitted by Trevor McGorry to vacate the full width of the alley within Block 7, McNaughton's Addition, Number 2, without the retention of utility easements. Item 6 is the consideration of interlocal agreement with Sioux Township EMS coverage. Item 7 is consideration of lease agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for Rotary Island Park. Item 8 is consideration to approve traffic control order 25-02 to prohibit parking on Ridge Street between Magazine Street and Governor Osborne Boulevard from December 1st through April 1st each year. Item 9 is the approval of consent agenda items as presented.
Thank you very much, Deputy City Clerk. Would any commissioner like any of these items further explained or removed for individual consideration tonight? Seeing none, Commissioner Bauer.
So moved, we approve tonight's consent agenda items.
Support.
We have motion and support. Any further comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. So we'll move on into item E, which is special orders of business. Acting City Manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 1 under special orders of business is a second reading of an ordinance to amend Article 3, Parking, Stopping, and Standing, Chapter 24, Traffic and Motor Vehicle of the Sault Ste. Marie Code of Ordinance, and Public Service Director Tyler Perrin's going to present on this.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So this item is to amend the overnight parking hours from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. to midnight to 7 a.m. Just due to the burdens of plowing overnight with vehicles still in the street, and it'll give us a better opportunity to effectively plow the streets, and then give day shift. They come in at 5 a.m. a little more time to plow in the mornings before the streets get clogged up. So that's really the meat and potatoes of this one.
Thank you. We have one person that would like to make some comments from the audience.
That's my relative. Sue
Thanks
Ann
for the
Wilkes.
disclosure. And your name for the public record, please.
Sue Ann Wilkes. I mostly was reading this over because I had concerns with other items, so that's what happens when weird stuff happens. We start looking over everything. But I just wanted clarification that you're actually proposing that we are not allow street parking before the bars close. Downtown businesses, we all have to get up and move our cars at midnight. I, of course, am in bed before midnight because that's much too late for me now. But there's a lot of folks and business owners that are open past midnight, and this seems like the pendulum just has to swing too far. Let's have a little reasonableness for the bar owners. Of course, I'm not one, but they're all busy, as we are businesses, but we're here for other interests. And so on behalf of bar owners, I would like clarification that you're asking their patrons to get out of the bars and go home at midnight rather than at 2 if they're having a good time. It seems like we could have gone maybe 2 to 7. I also think 7's too late. There's some people parking on the street because they're arriving at work at 6. So city employees, maybe not, but I know we have tenants that arrive at 6 in their downtown businesses, a flower shop and such. So although it might be convenient for the city, We've survived the 70s snowfall, and last year was, of course, the worst year on record. And I think we can continue to maybe make adjustments, but not noon to 7. I would propose maybe 2 to 6 to start and see if that helps. But asking downtown businesses to take the hit again and have their patrons have to leave early to move cars and things seems not supportive. Thanks.
Thanks for your comments. Acting City Manager Troy.
So we talked about this at an administrative level and understand that the bar closings would be impacted, so there would be grace in the downtown when bars are operating. The main concern is getting the side streets, getting the people off the roads on the side streets so our equipment can get down the roads and be able to plow efficiently without having to maneuver around vehicles or banking in vehicles. It is a concern as, you know, when we get a large accumulation of snow, we can't fit the equipment down there, and we get complaints from residents that their street has not been plowed, and they've not been plowed because we can't get our equipment past the vehicles on the road. So understanding there's got to be some give and take for the downtown businesses that operate into the, 2 a.m., but the main concern is to get them off the side streets so we can plow adequately. I don't know, Director Perrin, do you have anything else to add?
Nope, that's perfect. The downtown streets, they're all major streets, so, I mean, those routes are plowed all night long anyways. So it's not a big concern to get people, not to say that I don't want you, pushing the envelope on parking there all night, but, bar closed would be fine in a given grace period. We're not looking to push people out any sooner than they need to be. Like I said, those routes are plowed all night long. Just with that shift change from 5 to, that window from 5 to 7, to be able to hit stuff in the other areas is gonna be a big, big help.
Commissioners, Commissioner Rous's Wrath.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there a way that we can add that then in there so that we make it? It is there. That's what.
Expectations, where this does not apply. Now
Right.
include Ashman Street, Easter Day to Portage, Portage Avenue, Governor Osborne Boulevard to Ashman Street, Bingham Avenue, East 6th Avenue to East Easter Day Avenue.
Right.
Peck Street, it's all,
So all of these clarification exemptions stand now, right? That won't change.
Correct.
Okay. I'm just making sure I was reading that right, because then, okay. I'm just making sure, so it is good for downtown.
yes.
Okay.
Is that the odd side parking restrictions exceptions? That's not the
Yeah, that's
12 till 7 restriction?
that correct.
Okay. Commissioner Habusta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Director Perrin, certainly I appreciate, the efforts that you all do, and I appreciate you working on some strategy here. I am a little concerned about the time frame as well. I think about things on the other end, gym openings, coffee houses that are opening early on our streets. I think that, to me, is a concern. But the other concern, quite frankly, is the Sunday exemption. I know it's the 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I certainly appreciate that as a downtown pastor, that there's a need there, but in my mind, that's not early enough. For instance, this week our church, which is a downtown church on a, where we depend on street parking, we had a breakfast at 8 a.m. and those are normal occurrences. So I'm a little concerned to make sure that we have some grace on that end as well, and are wise to that as well. So thank you.
Yeah, that time didn't change.
Pardon?
That time didn't change. That was from the original ordinance. But yeah, and this isn't gonna change plow routes downtown at all by any means. The parking lots downtown are still gonna be plowed the same as they always have. It's just trying to be more efficient with our overnight times.
Any other good questions or comments? Anybody want to make that motion? Commissioner Rous's Wrath.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion to approve the ordinance as presented.
Is there support?
Support.
So there's motion and support. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion passed on a 6-1 vote. Thank you very much. Thanks, Director Taverna. All right, so we will move into item F, communications. So just to give a little bit of background on our attorney situation, under our charter, which is the law of the city commission has 2 employees, city manager and a city attorney. The city attorney, under the charter, shall act as a legal advisor to and be attorney and counsel for the commission and shall be responsible solely to the commission. He shall advise any officer or department head of the city in matters relating to his official duties when so requested, and shall file with the clerk a copy of all written opinions given by him. He shall prosecute in such ordinance violations, and he shall conduct for the city such cases in court and before other legally constituted tribunals as the commission may request. He shall file with the clerk copies of such records and files relating thereto as the commission may direct. He shall prepare or review all ordinances, contracts, bonds, and other written instruments which are submitted to him by the commission, and shall promptly give his opinion as to the legality thereof. He shall call the attention to the commission and the city manager all matters of law, changes or developments therein affecting the city. He shall perform such other duties as may be prescribed for him by his charter or by the commission. He shall at all times cooperate with the city manager and shall provide such information and reports and perform such duties as requested by the city manager as long as they are not inconsistent with the duties of his office and herein provided. Upon recommendation of the attorney or upon its own initiative, the commission may retain special legal counsel to handle any matter in which the city has an interest or to assist and counsel with the attorney therein. So back in 2020, we had the retirement of longtime attorney Steve Canello, who is our city attorney and who actually sat on the dais with us, which was very convenient, and we had that luxury for many years. When he retired, it was around COVID time, and we had to make a decision, and the city commission made a decision unanimously to approve the concept of hiring a contracted city attorney. At that time, we hired McGraw Morris PC, and they are a firm that's dedicated solely to the practice of municipal law and the defense of municipalities and municipal entities. This firm is comprised of 11 municipal attorneys and 4 executive assistants dedicated to fulfilling the legal needs of a diverse group of municipal clients. Our lead attorney's name is Kevin Kilby. Kevin Kilby is a former city administrator for the city of Clio, Michigan. He's a former police officer, and he does have a master's degree in public administration along with his Juris Doctorate, of course. He's been involved in municipal government for a number of years. He's skilled in all aspects of municipal law, including representing municipalities and downtown development authorities throughout the state of Michigan, and also advising on sewer, water, and drain law. He's one of only 11 attorneys in the state of Michigan who have been certified by the Michigan Association of Municipal Attorneys. After our last meeting, on behalf of the City Commission, I requested a written legal opinion on the DDA representatives and appointment on the board seats. That opinion was drafted, and it was made available for the Commission's review. Because it is a legal analysis, it is subject to attorney-client privilege. With that said, the city is the holder of that privilege. To be released, the City Commission would need to vote to release the opinion. So this agenda item being brought forward for City Commission to consider whether to release a legal opinion currently protected under attorney-client privilege. City Commission will need to weigh the benefits of public transparency against the importance of maintaining confidentiality in legal matters. If the City Commission wishes to proceed, a formal motion to waive privilege will be required. So looking for any, I think we'll hold off on comment till after we have a vote as to whether or not we release it, which would make sense unless public comment wants to happen now.
Are you asking for comment now or after?
Which way would you prefer? I think commission comments will be after, so, but. I would prefer to speak before you vote. Sure, sure, come on up. Sure. Go ahead. Are you done? Yes, yeah, come on up.
Matt Wilkes. So first of all, thank you again for letting me come up and talk to you a little bit. I think I have about 3 minutes, so
Sure.
hopefully I can get it done. With regard to the events of the last 2 weeks surrounding the mayor's authority to seat himself unilaterally on the DDA board and subsequent actions of the DDA board, I offer some thoughts for you. I'm not an attorney, however, I am well-educated, experienced, and can read. Mayor Gary violated MCL 125-4204, which specifies the only process to seat one person from the city government on the DDA board. Mayor Gary also violated sections 4.1, 4.2, 4.5A, 4.5D, and 4.9 of the city charter, which specifies the limits and boundaries of the mayor's authority. 4204 states an authority shall be under the supervision and control of a board consisting of the chief executive officer of the municipality or his or her designee from the governing body of the municipality and not less than 8 or 12 members as determined by the governing body of the municipality. Members shall be appointed by the chief executive officer of the city, subject to approval by the governing body. The word designee is important. The person charged with the duty to designate, in this case the city manager, must initiate the action. It cannot be taken from another person for any reason. The words, I choose me, no matter how busy she is. On information and belief, Ms. Troyer did not publish a designation nor inform the DDA board that Mayor Gary would attend in her place. Commissioner Bauer would have been the natural designee given his role as liaison to the DDA board. Further, the statute separates between the chief executive, in this case the city manager, and the governing body, in this case the commission. Section 4.2 of the city charter states, there shall be a city commission of 7 members consisting of the elected commissioners and the mayor, who shall be deemed a member of the commission for all purposes. Section 4.5A states, insofar as required by statute and for all ceremonial purposes, the mayor shall be executive head of the city. He shall have a voice and vote in the proceedings of the commission, but shall have no veto power. 4.5D states, except as may be required by statute, the mayor shall exercise only such powers as this charter or the commission shall specifically confer on him. Nothing in 125-4204 states or exists that requires, and I emphasize requires, you to do anything unilaterally taking the seat on the DDA board. There's a big difference between being required to do something and choosing to do something. Even if you could take up the seat on the October 8th and 9th DDA meetings, you provided no forum for deliberation or protection of process for anyone on either side. You acted in a manner that showed yourself as a biased representative of the city on the DDA board. Given its statutory creation, funding, and separate organization, the minute anyone takes a seat on that board means you are a fiduciary member and must act in the best interest of that board. Lastly, given your vocal participation in the October 9th meeting and your relative position of power over the citizens of Sault Ste. Marie who sit on that board, that participation represents the appearance of an abuse of power. The October 9th special meeting of the DDA violated the Open Meetings Act by not meeting the 18-hour posting requirement. The meeting was not posted on the city website, to my knowledge. The chair was not transferred by Craig Cooper to Ray Bell via motion. The 1980 DDA bylaws require 3 board members to independently write to the chair to call a special meeting, or the chair calls a special meeting, or other members must be informed in writing or personal service. The city commission or any city employee may not call a special meeting of the DDA. The meeting must also be formally called prior to any agenda being issued. On information and belief, Craig Cooper resigned the chair prior to the October 8th and 9th meetings. With no transfer of the chair, how can the October 9th meeting be called? All of this points to a basic lack of knowledge of the proper steps to take when things get heated, so everyone's interest is protected and actions are not nullified. You could have been the voice of reason and calm, but you chose to create more chaos. This leaves me with a choice. Either deal with this from the outside or the inside. After a bit of thought, I have chosen to apply for the DDA board. My 30 years experience in executive management, engineering, sales, marketing, and product support, most of all serving on 3 nonprofits and 1 for-profit boards, with 2 of those boards our chair, are more than enough. The DDA board in its current state lacks direction, purpose, and leadership. The members of this board have capabilities, but do not act in a cohesive manner in the best interest of the downtown, their primary fiduciary responsibility. It does not listen to their constituents, act independently, or even find ways to support city goals. This means numerous opportunities are being missed which can benefit both the downtown and the city. I fully intend to seek the chair of the board as well. I am retired, so I have the bandwidth to provide a significant amount of hours, probably 20 to 25 per week, in this effort. In addition, I possess the demeanor, experience, skills, and gravitas to guide the board and figure out what direction and the purpose should be, based on input from all stakeholders, most importantly, the board itself. Lastly, since you are considering releasing the attorney letter, and I appreciate that, let me state that attorneys provide advice, not consent. Your actions and decision of the past 2 weeks ultimately rest on you, and you can't hide behind my attorney said it was okay.
Thank you for your comments. Nancy Rose, did you want to make some comments?
Mine's a little more simplified because I took mine from the city commission meeting minutes. My name's Nancy Rose, and I thank you for the opportunity to talk. So at the October 6th City Commission meeting, Mr. Mayor, you expounded on the appointments to the DDA board. You said, and I quote, "The city has total control of appointments to the board. All board appointments are offered for consideration by the mayor and affirmed by the city commission. The DDA has no role in this process. As such, as mayor, I will be assuming the DDA board seat. I choose me. And also have the authority and responsibility recommending to the city commission all appointments to the DDA board," unquote. So I present to you, going through the past from different agendas, so follow me on this. December 14th, 2022, Mark Savoy and Amy Gates were appointed by the recommended by the DDA board. A month later, January 16th, 2023, at the city commission meeting, you affirmed both. May 10th, 2023, DDA board recommends Jordan Chisholm. 1 month later, June 5th, at the city commission meeting, you affirmed Jordan. January 8th, 2025, DDA board recommends Ashley Flickinger. March 17th, at the city commission meeting, you affirmed her. And May 14th, 2025, DDA meeting, they recommended reappointments of Ray Bell and Craig Cooper. And at the June 16th, 2025 city commission meeting, you affirmed Ray Bell and Craig Cooper. So you see where I'm going with this. Up until October 6th, recommendations by the board were put on the agenda and affirmed by the city commission. So Mr. Mayor further said on October 6th at the city commission meeting, quote, "Request for appointments to the DDA board does not comply with Michigan legislation and was not put on the agenda for this meeting. My process is and has been parallel with best practices. Advertise openings, visibility, and transparency." Well, I call bull on that, Mr. Mayor, because you had 2 well-qualified candidates, Katie Wilcox and Tony Stackpole. They were approved at the September 10th DDA board meeting and has been the practice for the past numerous years. Now you call foul on this. Many of us here now, and I hope more watching at home, but I know they're probably watching the Lions game, because you have been very transparent on what your ultimate goal was, made clear at the special DDA meeting on October 9th. You knew you wouldn't have the votes to fire our very capable DDA director, John DeRue, with these new DDA members on board. So you didn't want this on the agenda. To me, this speaks of collusion amongst certain DDA board members and yourself prior to this special meeting. So I say so much for transparency. And so bringing up boards, I went through several years' worth of meetings. You need to check out EDC meeting minutes because they're quite interesting. I saw that Commissioner Habusta was asking questions back in January of 2024. And from what I found out is He's not allowed to go, and I think this was a blanket to all of you, that you are not allowed to go to any board meetings unless you serve on that board. So this is a quote from McLeod, who was on the EDC board, and I believe he's off now. This is not the first time Commissioner Habusta has interfered with boards, and that no one wants to operate under an atmosphere where everything is investigated. Mayor Gary noted he would talk with Habusta. What I don't understand is, you're not a vote, you wouldn't have a vote on that board, but wouldn't you want to know what's going on with our city on these boards? So apparently, it was put out that you can't go to these board meetings. But I know in the last month or two, there is a sitting commissioner right now that did go to an airport authority meeting who's not on the airport board. So was this more or less just to stop Mr. Habusta? Because in watching meetings, he asked a lot of questions, which I can't say for the lot of you. So, thank you.
Thank you for comments. Let's see. Now we'll go to the commission. Do we have a motion to there were just two, correct? Oh, so Ann, did you want to speak on this one also? Okay. All right, so to the commission, do we want to make a motion to authorize the release of the attorney-client privilege, or do we want to not? Any discussion? Commissioner Rubenstein? Yes.
Motion to authorize the release of attorney-client privilege legal opinion regarding DDA representatives and appointments.
Support.
Motion and support. Any other discussion? Commissioner Habusta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to note, first of all, that this is simply a decision to release this opinion. This is not whether or not we as individuals agree with the opinion or don't agree with the opinion. It's simply to release the opinion. But the second thing I would just caution is I do think that, well, sometimes this is warranted, and this may be a case where it's warranted. It is also dangerous for us to release these. They're privileged for a reason, and that's for the protection of the city. I just think that we need to be careful in some cases, but again, clearly, this may not be one of those cases, but I do think it's important we weigh that. Thank you.
Good comments, thank you. Any others before we have a vote? All in favor of releasing the legal opinion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously, and I just have a couple of comments. The opinion, we have a written copy. It will be available on the city's website, will be distributed to the DDA board members, so if you'd like a copy, we can arrange for you to get a copy. And I know that the last couple weeks have been very difficult for our downtown community, and there's been a lot said on social media. People are frustrated, and I know many of you are tired of the conflict. Just now, we voted to release the attorney-client privilege communication regarding the DDA seat and appointment authority requirements. I hope this provides helpful context on our following the requirements of a state statute. What I care about the most is moving our downtown forward. We all want the same thing, a vibrant downtown with thriving businesses and strong leadership. The question is how we get there together. It has been refreshing to see some spirited and some positive conversations starting to take place on where to go from here and what is an ideal downtown. I am personally committed to listening to any downtown business owners and having honest conversations about what's working and what's not and what we can do to focus on making positive change. Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? So we will move on. Mr. Rubenstein.
I just have a quick question related to the opinion. It doesn't really reference if it matters. I think Commissioner Booster brought it up, the difference between a weak mayor and a strong mayor community. Is there any clarification on that and how it weighs into the opinion?
Acting City Manager. Or do you want me to cover it?
No, I did receive a response from the attorney on that question, and I'm happy to provide it as part of the release of the opinion. Do you have it pulled up? It doesn't matter, more or less, whether it's a strong mayor or a weak mayor. It said 2018 PA 57 does not differentiate between a strong mayor or a weak mayor form of government pursuant to section 201, parentheses H of the act. The chief executive officer means mayor or the city manager of the city, emphasis at it. So it does not matter.
Thank you.
And of course, in writing his opinion, he did review all of our city charter and ordinances, so. All right, so we'll move on into item F, communications number 2 from Commissioner Bospis Rath, a discussion on West Portage Avenue winter parking. Commissioner Bospis Rath.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to open a discussion about winter parking for businesses that are open year-round on Portage. I know, and all of you are aware, parking can be difficult in the winter, especially on Portage. So I just wanted to kind of open up a discussion to see what your thoughts are on somehow providing those customers going to the businesses that are open on Portage in the winter availability to park in front of their business.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Rubenstein.
So I'm really glad you brought this up. But it's also not just those businesses on Portage. I've received complaints as well in other areas of downtown, including on Water Street. So I think it's becoming more and more of a challenge as the project continues to expand and grow and move on. And not sure what the solution is, but we got to figure out something better than what we're doing now, because it's not working and it's creating more issues.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Marvel.
Yes, I have to, I agree with Commissioner Bosbis Rath and Commissioner Rubenstein. I've received quite a few concerns about the parking, and not only just on Portage, but also on Water Street. So yes, I agree that I'm not sure but there needs to be something that we need to think about doing for parking.
Thanks, Commissioner. Any other commissioners want to make any comments? Commissioner Bauer.
When it comes right down to it, it all depends on the weather. Not that we can't do anything about it. I mean, we can make plans and make better strategy, possibly, which I know is what this statement is about. But, you know, at the end of the day, is the way that goes.
Thanks. Commissioner Rubenstein.
Is there any realistic options with mass busing or private lots that could be turned into, or private plots of land that we could approach anyone on allowing permitted parking there and them benefiting from it? Driving around and talking to different people of, hey, what could maybe be possible and ideas that are thrown out there. I haven't heard one that's kind of the light bulb goes off, but just trying to get the wheels turning a little bit.
Thanks, Commissioner. We'll go to Commissioner Hubusta, and then we'll have Acting City Manager round it up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Certainly, if we want to extend our downtown and increase year-round business opportunities, we have to come up with a better plan for our downtown parking. I think that we need to refer this back to administration. I'd like to see a formal plan written up by administration so that there is spots available downtown. You know, we have businesses now moving into the far end of Porter Street. We have plenty of housing down there. I think administration should come up with a plan for us for downtown parking and one that supports making sure that those businesses have opportunities and the residencies that are in some of those businesses or above some of those businesses have opportunities to park as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Bauer.
The thing is, because I don't want people to think that that my answer was cavalier, right? Is that we only have so much equipment and we only have so many bodies, and the plan is the plan and works to the best of our ability under certain circumstances. Can we have a better plan? Well, let's hope so. But I'm just, I did want to bring that up, that, I mean, with what we've got and what we've got to work with, I know that they do the best that they can possibly do at this point. And the more snow you get and how frequently that falls and how much is really what the plan is contingent upon. Really. I mean, you know, that's the way it is year after year.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Talentino.
Thank you, Your Honor. If I'm not mistaken, and I'd like to get some clarification on this, I believe the north parking in the wintertime, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer own those parking spots, if I'm not mistaken. Or do we own them as a city?
City.
We own.
We own them? Okay. Because working out there in the past, I know there was a certain time of year where Corps employees were allowed to go ahead and park out there. This really isn't a Kokoshi-Navarishi issue. They have their whole busing system set up. Commissioner Bosworth-Rath and I had a quick conversation prior. You know, this mostly seems to be for the winter construction that comes in during lock drainage, what have you. I think there can be some clarification on that. I think, you know, if we keep the meters open, you know, he or she who puts the money in the meters does in fact get to park there. My biggest concern is, are those sidewalks going to be cleared going through areas of stores that might be shut down at that time? Okay, I mean, we do have new stores opening up, you know, over towards the substation, what have you, but there seems to be a block of businesses in there that are shut down for the year. You know, so that's kind of a concern of mine too, you know, and now we do have a lot of snowmobiles running down around. So can we do better on it? Yeah, I think we can come up with something, but we really need to have some serious thought about how we're going to do this. You know, and to mirror on what Commissioner Bauer said, we do only have so much machinery, manpower, what have you. But I think we can improve it. I really do.
Thanks, Commissioner. Acting City Manager.
So we have talked about this at a staff level, and if I'm going back, you know, last year the commission approved a winter parking or an off-season winter parking permit. It was $125. There seemed to still be some issues with that. The year prior, it was a free-for-all, and so there was issues with that. Talking with staff, we could bring a TCO, traffic control order, back to the commission to designate some parking spaces on the south side of Portage, in front of the MAC building, and then further down by Doss Gift House or Oak Crepe. That is strictly transient. They pay the meter, they pull in, they go, or short-term kind of parking. That's not to say that individuals are not going to park there, and then maybe redirect some of the lock workers over into the fire hall parking lot. There seems to be capacity there, but it'll be a concern of walking in the winter season. Everybody wants to park closer. So we could bring a TCO back to the commission designating certain parking spaces on the south side of Portage, meter only, and see if that solves the problem this year. It's a possible solution to the concerns, but understand, you know, in the winter, it's hard to get in there and plow when there's vehicles parked there 24/7. Depending on the amount of snow, we start to lose spaces. Things get tighter, so it will be, you know, there could be some issues, winter-related issues with that. But it's an option if the commission wishes to entertain that.
Thank you, Acting City Manager. Commissioner Rubenstein.
Would we still sell permits in those other spaces?
Yep, so we would still have the permits. There's 42 parking spaces on the south side, and there's 50 parking spaces on the north side. So we could still sell the winter parking permit and then just designate, you know, whether it's the first 7 by Doss and then some of the angle parking in front of the MAC building, and give some parking kind of on the south side for customers to come and go.
Is it reasonable or appropriate to look at raising the cost of that permit? Like if somebody really wants to park close that bad, feels like it should benefit the city more than just $125. But I don't know what the legality of that or feasibility of that is.
It was we took the standard parking permit for a standard lot and prorated it out for a 4-month period. That's how the rate was determined last season. The commission wishes to increase that. It's at the commission's wish to increase that permit cost.
Thank you.
Commissioner Talentino.
I think a lot of this could also be taken care of by one simple phone call to the Corps. You know, I think what they can do is possibly go ahead and keep their far lots open, the lots down by what do I want to say? Down by the substation, down on Portage. And just ask their contractors to park there, because during wintertime, lock dewatering, they don't go in the main gate most of the time anyhow. Most of the contractors are going in the far gate where the cross bridge is at. So that in essence isn't a whole lot further. I think a simple reach out to them, I think a lot of this probably can be taken care of. That's just me.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Habusta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate those comments, Commissioner Talentino. And I do think, we want to be a good partner. I think that's part of it. One thing I heard was that the Army Corps plows those spots. Is that accurate?
They used to, last year we did it.
Okay. My major concern is we had a business last year who wanted to stay open year-round in that area and who couldn't, and they've said parking was a major part of it. And again, if we want a thriving downtown, then we have to have some availability for those people to park, and so I think administration will do a great job on getting us a plan that affords that opportunity for downtown businesses.
With consultation with the business owners and the Corps. Is that a motion to send it back to administration?
So moved.
Support.
Motion support. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you very much. So moving on into G, business items number 1. Acting City Manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is coming back before the commission. It's ratification of City Commission action from May 19th on the purchase agreement for the sale of the downtown parking deck. As you may recall, on May 19th, you authorized the former city manager to execute a purchase agreement for the sale of the parking deck downtown. Since then, it underwent legal review and administrative review. So I'm bringing back before you the final purchase agreement for the commission's ratification of that action. Just to note a couple of the things, there wasn't really major changes to the purchase agreement. We worked with legal on the land transaction, so we went through the legal review, because you may recall there were the community action owned part of the land that sits underneath the parking structure. So we worked with legal to work through those, and they've been recorded, and so that is clear. We also worked with legal on the overhead walkway. So there was an overhead walkway installation agreement that was being terminated, but because the overhead walkway still crosses over Osborne Boulevard, we had to work with legal in drafting a new easement. So that's been worked through. The purchase agreement previously noted community action. And as you know, the City Commission cannot take action on behalf of community action, so there was modifications to the purchase agreement to define those authorities. In the original purchase agreement, there was a max increase on parking fees. So there's been a legal review and guidance put regarding that. The other one was keeping the parking garage open to the public. That's been worked through. And then there was a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the closing documents, which is anticipated, pending commission approval, to happen maybe by the end of this week. I do want to thank My Michigan, Kevin Kelchek and Sheila Lewis for all of their help as we worked through this process. Both legal teams put a lot of time in reviewing and working through some of the complexities of the agreement. And then I also want to recognize the administrative team, our finance director, Kristen Collins, our incoming finance director, Callie Perrin, our public service director, Tyler Perrin, community development director, Kelly Freeman, city engineer, Dave Boyle, and police chief, Wes Bierling. It was really a team effort from the administrative level to get us to this point. So before the commission would be motion to ratify the action taken on May 19th, approving the purchase agreement for the sale of the downtown parking deck as reviewed and finalized, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to proceed with the sale and closing and to execute the necessary documents as contemplated by the purchase agreement.
Thank you, Acting City Manager. And before we go out for comments, I would like to say on behalf of the commission, thank you for all the work you put into this. You were thrown into it with little or no knowledge, and you've done a great job, and I know you've taken a lot of time and work with the attorneys to put this together, and there were a lot of moving parts with all of them, so thank you very much for your commitment and for getting through it. City Commission, Commissioner Rubenstein.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The question I have is on the loss of the sale to be recorded, just to clarify, and for lack of a better term, that's just on paper, correct? That's not going to negatively affect the fund balance at the end of next year?
Correct. So it's just recording the net book value loss on the asset, so not impacting the fund balance.
Thank you.
Anybody else who would like to make this motion? Commissioner Marvel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion to ratify the action taken on May 19th, 2025, approving the purchase agreement for the sale of the downtown parking deck as reviewed and finalized, and to authorize the mayor and city clerk to proceed with the sale and closing, and to execute the necessary documents as compliant by the purchase agreement.
Support.
Motion and support. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. G, business items number 2, Acting City Manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. This item was also before the City Commission back in February. So I'm looking for direction and potential budget authorization to work towards a development agreement for a Cloverland Regional Training Facility. So back in February, Cloverland came before the City Commission, presented a concept for a regional training facility up in the Air Industrial Park. It would encompass the Smart Zone building and 4 parcels that surround it. At that time, there was no formal action taken by the City Commission. There wasn't a consensus or any authorization given at that time. So I'm bringing it back before the City Commission to get either formal action or consensus to move forward. Since February, there has been some environmental work done on the 4 parcels up near the Smart Zone building. That was done by Eagle. There was a deed that was prepared for the 4 parcels with a value of $10,000 per parcel for a total cost of $40,000 that was not executed. The Smart Zone building, there are EDA restrictions. I reached out to EDA, made a contact the day before the government shut down, and have not been able to obviously have any further communication with them. There are restrictions on the parcel property where the Smart Zone building is at until 2033. So I don't even know if it's a viable option for the sale of that piece. One of the parcels also has our Parks and Recreation building on it, so there need to be a determine if we're gonna move the Parks and Rec building or cut that out of the proposed plan. The Police Department building, we currently lease through Cloverland. That is also in the conversation of us acquiring that and taking ownership of the building versus the lease. And since the February meeting, there has been no legal review. Legal was not aware of it. So I would look, if the commission is supportive of pursuing a development agreement with Cloverland for a regional training facility pending any conversations with EDA, I would look for that direction from the commission, as well as a budget of $25,000 to cover environmental cost, appraisals, and legal services. And Mike Heiss from Cloverland Electric was out of town and could not be here tonight, but is aware that it is on the agenda for discussion.
Thank you, Acting City Manager. Certainly hope everybody had the chance to review the attachment in the packet on the overview for the city. Any questions from the City Commission? Any conversation? Commissioner Abusta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My comment involves the EDA restrictions. I just have a hard time approving a $25,000 budget, when we don't even know if this is a possibility due to federal grant restrictions. I would love to see us work that out first to figure out if that's something that can happen, and I understand we're in an an era where, we do not have a government that is currently operating, a federal government that's currently operating. So I certainly understand there's some delay there, but I can't see approving a budget for $25,000 if it's not something that we can even move forward with.
Thanks, Commissioner. Acting City Manager, I'm assuming that you would not spend the money until we get concurrence through EDA. Is that what your
Correct.
plan would be?
Correct.
Anybody else?
That was going to be my question, is
Okay.
can we approve it contingent on that, but that answered the question, so thank you.
So in concept, what are everybody's thoughts? Would you like to authorize Acting City Manager to move forward with discussions with Cloverland? Looks like a great project and would be good for the community. And notwithstanding, Cloverland is one of our largest taxpayers, so it would be a taxable property, not that that's. So who'd like to make a motion? There are two separate motions. Commissioner Hubusta.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend or to establish a project budget of $25,000 to cover the cost of appraisal services, environmental assessments, and legal review with funding from the land sales in the special revenue fund pending EDA approval.
Support.
So there's motion and support. Any other discussion? All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passed unanimously. And then Commissioner Habusta, number one.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the acting city manager to proceed with the preparation and negotiation of the development agreement with Cloverland Electric for the proposed Cloverland Regional Training Facility and to return to the city commission with a draft agreement for review and potential approval.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Moving on to G, business items number 3. Acting City Manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 3 is consideration of establishment of an airport fund and adoption of an updated airport user fee schedule for fiscal year 25-26. And our airport manager, Chandler Cass, and incoming finance director, Callie Perrin, are going to present on this request.
Teamwork.
All right, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So we have been working for the past month or so with Chandler coming on board to get the airport set up to take it on in-house. In our research with that, in accordance with the Michigan State Chart of Accounts, the airport operation should be housed in an enterprise fund, similar to the water sewer fund, where it's self-supported through the user fees. So with this agenda item, what we want to do is establish the enterprise fund, which will be number 581, which is in compliance with the Michigan State Chart of Accounts for airport operations. In doing this, we'll also need a budget amendment to remove the airport operations from the general fund where they're currently housed over to the enterprise fund. There will be a transfer from the general fund over to the new airport fund because it's needed for this year to sustain the operations. It's netting out at not a negative to the general fund at all because it was budgeted to have to support the airport and the overall. It's just a transfer to a different fund because it's being removed from the general fund in total. We're also making a motion to amend the user fee schedule for the 25-26 fiscal year, which Chandler's going to talk about, because even though I've been learning a lot about airports, I don't know a lot about these things.
It's been a fun process. Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
So we're talking about different sources of income and revenue for the airport. So everything from landing fees, handling fees, some of our other consumable purchases is like oil, our ground power unit and stuff. So we're just resetting those rates to get to standards and still be competitive with our competitors out there. And the market trends are pretty good in the green on these, so should see some hopefully good cash flow on them. So any questions or anything about the proposed fees?
Any questions from the commission? Nope, seeing none. Great job.
Thank you.
So there are 3 separate motions as mentioned. Commissioner Habusta, you're the liaison for the airport. Would you like to
Sure.
take care of these?
Motion to establish Enterprise Fund 581 in compliance with Michigan State Chart of Accounts for airport operations.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Habusta.
Motion to append the airport user fee schedule for 2025-2026 fiscal year as recommended.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. And Commissioner Habusta.
Motion to approve the budget amendment to remove airport operations from the general fund and to establish the budget for airport operations within Fund 581.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion also passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on into G, business items number 4, Acting City Manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 4 is consideration of bid award for downtown sidewalk snow removal, and Public Service Director Tyler Perrin will present on this request.
Hello again.
Welcome back.
So up for consideration here is the 3-year contract for downtown sidewalk snow removal for the downtown area. This is the second time it was bid out this fall. The first time we only had 2 bidders, and the DDA board had a recommendation to go out to bid a second time to try to get more, get another contractor on board, to have three good bidders. The second bid around, we still only received 2, but another bidder separate from one that originally bid came in. So the motion is to award to Matheny Lawn Service. That went to the DDA board at their last regular meeting and was recommended to go with the option 2 service, which does all of the downtown sidewalks, kiosk areas, crosswalks in the district, all the way down to the MAC building. So Ashman and Portage. 2 motions to award the 3-year contract to Matheny for a price of $85,000, and a second motion to amend the DDA budget for the increased costs.
Thanks, Director Perrin. Any questions for Director Perrin? Commissioner Rubenstein.
What percentage of downtown business owners need to pay in to ultimately cover that additional $12,300? I mean, the contract itself is fine, but the system we have in place it doesn't work with the percentage that pay in and how it's run. So that's kind of a different discussion, I guess, but what percentage need to actually pay in to cover that?
I will refer that to the incoming finance director, Callie Perrin.
So the letters that we are anticipating to get feedback on from the downtown business owners, if we get 100% participation, it's going to total $53,000. We were hoping to get about a 60% return rate was going to be our threshold for going forward, just because it's going to be too much of a cost overall, and we'd have to look at options at that point. So 60% was what we were aiming for participation from the downtown business owners. And those letters, we did send them out to see the feedback of it all, and we're hoping to get moving on it because the snowfall could be here anytime. So.
What percentage typically participate? We got our letter in the mail today.
So last year we only billed and collected about $16,000. I don't know the percentage wise of it all. We picked up the process after Riley Gilman left in the fall, so it was a transfer process from DDA over to the finance staff, and the amount we billed was only about $16,000 worth. So I don't know the percentage, but that's the dollar amount that we brought in. So we're hoping to get closer to 60% participation, which would offset the cost of what the DDA's portion is. So.
Okay, and then I think in a previous discussion, and this just goes back to the process itself, I think the contractors have said to us they're not going to pick up their snowplow and go past a business that doesn't, like, the system just, it doesn't work. It's just a weird setup. Like, I know my wife and I feel weird that we're paying into it, but we know others don't, and they're still getting plowed, and it seems like either somehow the PSD needs to pick it up, or the city just needs to cover it all, or I don't know what the solution is, but
Yeah, I personally can't say what the solution is either. I have thought of the principal shopping district to look at that. I don't know the legality behind adding this to something like that, but that would be what I believe would be the option to do that. Those bills would go out in April every year, so then you collect them throughout the year, and if it's not paid by the time that the winter tax roll comes out, that installment is put on the winter tax roll. So that's the way that the PSD works. It's a special assessment roll. So that could be an option to look at, but we would want, weigh in on information and see what the best route is to go. But I agree with you that I do believe in the past they had said they don't lift the plow or they don't have a map to know who has paid and who hasn't. So it is just a difficult process overall to figure out the best way to make it the most efficient.
and then if it falls short, a recommendation would just come to us at the commission to cover that gap.
I
I'm
believe
assuming?
so. It would be talked about at the DDA level, and then brought to.
All right. Thank you.
Director Perrin, incoming Finance Director Perrin, the cost to the downtown property owner was $2.
I believe it's two or $2.50 a square
linear,
foot.
yeah.
Lineal.
So it's a small amount for downtown businesses to opt in, depending on their frontage. So we would need 60% participation is what we put in the letter to offset the cost. The general fund picks up the balance of it. I think it's a 60-40 split. The city covers the crosswalks and the city portions of it. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your questions, Commissioner. Commissioner Augusta?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm concerned about this, having to have 60%. What would be administration's recommendation if that mark is not achieved? I mean, last year we're looking at anywhere between 25 to 28%, and now we're asking for a pretty substantial increase in buy-in. And I know we have a different company who is doing it, but is there a plan if there's not that 60% buy-in?
if there's not a 60% buy-in. And I want to reiterate that, Matheny, who has done an outstanding job in the years past, he's provided quality service to the downtown. He's the contractor that we're recommending the bid be awarded to. So hopefully, with that information, that downtown businesses will opt in. But if there is not a 60% opt-in, then we'll have to come back before the city commission and discuss. Or, the commission will be faced with the decision whether they want to just contract for city sidewalks or they want to cover the cost.
Thank you. And then one further clarification. This is for 3 years. If we begin this search for a new city manager comes in, has a plan, now we're locked in for 3 years.
So we bid it out for a 3-year contract, and we got to understand that a contractor that is bidding on this is purchasing equipment to do this, and so they have capital costs to be able to manage and do the job well. So we want to be cognitive of that, and I know Matheny is looking to purchase equipment to be able, and staff, to be able to do this and do it well.
And then with that, my final question, I appreciate your time. Has there been any discussion, when we talk about, a company going out and purchasing equipment, has there been any discussion over long-term about us, purchasing equipment in-house, and the costs associated there, and employees and things like that?
So we've talked about it in the past, and we've weighed the cost. We would have to purchase the equipment, we'd have to hire the staff. Matheny operates 24/7, and so we would have to have staffing that would be able to operate 24/7 to respond to the downtown, to be able to plow when there's an inch of snow. Contracting it out seemed to be the most cost-effective approach to it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Anybody else? Anybody like to make the motions? There are two separate motions. Commissioner Boswitz-Rath.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion number 1, to award the 3-year contract to Matheny Lawn Service as outlined in B-39-25, option 2, for a yearly price of $85,000.
Support.
Motion and support. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Bosbus-Rath.
Number 2, motion to amend the DDA budget with an increase of $12,300 for snow removal expenditures, fully offset by revenue from businesses who benefit from the service.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion also passed unanimously. Thank you very much. So we'll move into G, business items number 5, acting city manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 5 is consideration of a bid award for the Malcolm Park Ball Field Fencing Project, and Director Tyler Perrin's going to present on this as well.
So, as you all know, back on the September 15th commission meeting, you guys approved a budget to increase the fencing project. An RFP was put out after that decision, and we received numerous bidders, a couple walkthroughs, and the low bidder was to Century Fence, who was one that came over for a walkthrough. The actual low bid was just over $200,000, but we went through, talked some things out, and made some removals of line items for fence topper, an outfield that was in good shape, but we wanted to get a price on it just to see what it would cost to have it done all at the same time. So in removing those items, we kept the integrity of the project for still renewing all the fencing that was in dire need. Got it back within our project budget of $165,000. So this is to award the bid to Century Fence.
And Director Perrin, Century Fence has done work for us.
Correct. Yes, they were the contractor, I believe, that did the fencing at the I-500 track this year.
Any questions for Director Perrin? Mr. Bauer.
So moved, we award the bid to Century Fence in the amount of $164,503.80.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Also in G, business items number 6, acting city manager Troyer.
Consideration to approve an allocation from the SEAL Operating Fund for Outhouse Consortium, Ashman Creek Trail System, and Director Perrin is going to present on this.
All right, so back up for some more opportunity here is Outhouse's Ashman Creek Trail System. As you all are aware, back in November of 2023, an MOU was approved with Outhouse for them to start working on the development plan for the trail system, and a budget of $30,000 was allocated for the design work for that. A request came to the Parks and Rec Board this year, back in August, for the initial phase of construction. And that'll kick off construction for a beginner mountain bike trail is the initial plan here. And there are members from Outhouse here, and along with the consulting firm that did that work to speak on the matter. I guess before they come up, the motion here is to approve SEAL funds, the amount of $144,000, which would be a reimbursement cost to Outhouse with an amendment to the original MOU and project budget. This allocation leaves the trust intact. This is only taking the disbursement amount that is available to projects. And the disbursements, new disbursements coming in from the fund happen in January, February, and it's estimated to be between $40,000 and $45,000 of new disbursement funds will be available this upcoming year. So on that, I'll invite up DJ from Outhouse.
Thank you. Good evening, DJ.
Good evening. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak to you tonight and for even the consideration of this opportunity. A brief overview, as he said, we've been working on this for a few years now, and in conjunction with the city. As Tyler stated, the $30,000 in seal funds was given to us. We use that to hire John Shuby from Shuby Consulting. He's done the design engineering work as well as all the wetland delineation permitting related to the project. I'll let him kind of go into the weeds on that a little bit more than I will. That project itself cost $52,000. The remainder of that budget has been covered by the House Consortium, as well as the other $14,000 in the original concept design work done. Overall, the project right now is looking at $895,000 project budget, of which we have partners such as Little Traverse Conservancy. We have Ann Fleming here, which again, I'll pull her up and she can speak a little bit more to that herself, who are here and willing to help us and have had experience with other similar projects, as well as some capital support. And if you two would join me, please. I suppose I'd like for them to speak, and then if you have any questions as it relates to Outhouse or the project for me.
Sure. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Commission. My name is John Shuby of Shuby Consulting. I live in Copper Harbor, Michigan. I used to work with Rock Solid Trail Contracting, and now I own Shuby Consulting. And I've been involved in the project under with both operations. I first started the project planning with Rock Solid, and now finished up, did the project design and myself with support from LRE Engineering out of Grand Rapids, and they provided some professional engineering support as well as some technical support for the wetland delineations. We have about 8 miles of trail planned. There's concentric loops, and so that means we have kind of an inner trail loop, which will be a crushed rock trail, which will be anywhere from 6 to 8 feet wide. You know, kind of the budget will determine that final thing. If we can make it 8 feet wide, it can be accommodating to winter sports as well as to all pedestrian traffic and most forms of wheeled traffic. You know, skateboards and rollerblades are not going to be able to use the crushed rock trail, but pretty much any other users will be able to use that. Outside of that, we have some single track trails, which are more of a shared natural surface trail, catering to beginners. And then outside of that, we have another loop of intermediate trails, which are a little bit more of a higher level of difficulty, a little bit more physical demand to that. But all the trails are designed to minimize impacts to wetlands, minimize impacts to the Ashman Creek water, the stream network there, and provide recreational opportunities for the community as well as tourists.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. My name is Ann Fleming, and I represent Little Traverse Conservancy. We're a nonprofit land conservancy based down right below the bridge, and this is part of our service area. We've been partnering with Outhouse Consortium on their invitation to help them with some of the trail visioning that your city has had going for many years and trying to help you bring that to fruition. We offer land protection solutions, but we also can offer some financial support, fundraising support, and trail expertise. We've worked with John's company before and highly endorse it, and it's just super exciting to be part of what's going on in your community as you elevate in this way.
Thank you, Ann.
Okay, so, sorry I didn't have the maps ready to be put up, but they're all in your packet.
Sure.
For where this is taking place. I'm bringing the board recommendation as presented and how they approved. I'm not gonna speak for us utilizing the almost remainder of the seal funds. It's a good project, one way or the other. Be good for recreational purposes, so I'll let you guys take it from here.
Thank you very much, Director. We had one member of the audience that would like to make some comments before we go into discussion.
Hi, Sue Ann Wilkes again.
Thank you.
Sorry. I don't know, well, I know enough about the SEAL Trust, and I feel the SEAL Trust and the SEAL family is speaking to you still through the trust. And they designated specifically, they only wanted a certain amount of funds to one project any year. And they also wanted the mayor to oversee this board. and to appoint the board members. Now, this has been abandoned by the mayor. He sees more fit right now to take over the DDA and try to run its operations. And along that vein, we have the historical. I was wondering if anyone legally looked over, had our lawyer, any commissioner, when Brian Chapman merged these two boards and abandoned the mayor's job to oversee this fund because it was a little too tough. I don't mean by the mayor, the city manager's comments. But this money has been gifted to us. It's not a burden to us. We let it sit, as they have asked us not to, and then we put it up all to one project, which they also asked us not to. They want this spent on, I understand there's other projects that have come to you and been turned away. They've been told they have to match funds. I'm really happy to hear that there is capital support for this project, an $895,000 project, and I don't hear about too much fundraising by the Outhouse Consortium anymore because you have several agencies that are just kicking funds in. But to empty the seal fund, when you have other projects, we've had people talk about pickleball court, we wanted a splash pad, and no money after many attempts was ever given to the splash pad, which is used by all the families in town. It's unimaginable to me that we would disregard and disrespect the seals and completely throw their wishes out the window because we don't really like how they asked us to spend our gift. I just have a problem, and I know in August, Bernie Arbick, a very respected member, sent a letter to the Historic Commission. I don't know if you guys read the minutes and that letter in there, but he has a problem. That grant fund and board was also abandoned and put into the Historical Commission, and he said that those funds are not being spent as that agreement was. So it seems to me we have pet projects, we want to look over here, then we don't look over here, and they get misused, not in a terrible, evil project, but not as intended. It's your job to make sure these boards are staffed. We talked about an ethics commission that isn't seated. These are ethical issues, how these monies are being spent outside of a trust, how the historical commission's monies are being spent outside of the way that was agreed to with the Chippewa County Historic Commission that sold the $1 million painting. We have people looking the other way in every manner, in many manners of government, and it's time that we get down, slow this down, look at this trust. Are we respecting the seals? And are we giving due availability of these funds to projects that aren't our favorites, that people that aren't sitting on boards with us in other places, that aren't giving us votes in other places? I mean, we can say this is our money to spend as you wish, and it might be because you're taking it and you're saving it up. But just because something is legal doesn't mean it can't be smelled. And there's a lot of smell that everybody can, it's stinking. And we've got to be able to respect your decisions. And the way these things are overlapping, it's just getting impossible. It's impossible. So please, take a moment before you spend every bit of this money on one project and think about the others in the community and the seals. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. I just wanted to clarify a couple things. I don't usually respond, but I want to clarify for the commission and for the audience. Seal Fund board is intact. The Osborne Trust Fund is intact, and they do not manage the funds, where the funds go, I should say. They manage the funds according to the formulas that are put in place by the trust document. The actual requesting and the spending of the Seal Estate funds is through recommendations by the Parks and Rec Board, which that recommendation is before us today. So those two boards still exist. Those two boards do their fiduciary duty, and all of the requests for this go through the Parks and Rec Board. So, any questions from the commission? Any comments? Commissioner Habusta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Certainly, I'm concerned about the depletion of funds, and one of the reasons why is most recently when this appeared on a previous agenda item, it was there was concern from administration regarding that depletion of the fund. So I guess, I know Director Perrin said he didn't want to speak to that, and that's okay. I just don't understand how we can go from a month later being concerned about it being depleted to not being depleted, and so I guess I'm concerned with that as well. But I do have some questions about this specific project. First of all, can you tell me, certainly this is a pretty substantial funding project that needs funding for. What additional, have you done additional crowdfunding for that? Have you received additional grants? Specifically, I'm kind of, I know that, the Michigan Health Endowment Fund has great funding for projects like this that get people out. And so I'm just kind of curious to know what additional grant sources you've approached, before coming to the city, and have you?
We have actively looked. At this point, we have not applied for many state grants, the social determinants of health funding you were actually specifically referring to. We almost wrote for last year, but there was a condition that it had to be fully funded in order for them to fund a proportion of it. But I do hope that we can apply for that over this winter for next season. That said, grants are grants, I don't know. As far as fundraising locally, we continually do our fundraising every year to raise it. That's how we've supported the other sides of these engineering projects as well. Right now, it was kind of a big push to get the engineering and design work done, to then go to this. It's much easier to go to a group of people and say, this is what I want to build, when I have a map. Contextually, we can have a conversation and walk out of the room with, I believe you said this, I didn't believe I said that, so I just want to, we as a board have been aiming to have this step done and then really start pushing on the more localized fundraising efforts. As far as grant requirements, we do actively look, grant applications, we actively look, but at this moment, no. We have not applied for anyone specifically at this moment.
Thank you. Additionally, once these are complete go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to briefly say that this approval would actually count in for the match requirement for a lot of the grants that you're talking about. The Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund is one of them, and the kind of work that we do as well. We want to do what we know that the city's really invested in, and so it gives a lot of leverage, but it would count for a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate that comment. The other question I had involved the responsibility of the trails and the creation of the trails. Will that all be done through Outhouse, or will there be a municipal responsibility to care for these trails?
The long-term goal is that Outhouse would maintain the trail system. In the long run, there's a huge expense for something, and I can't see the future. We may at one point come back and ask for additional capital, but as far as standard maintenance, no. The plan would be that Outhouse, through local donations and hopefully sustained giving, could maintain the trail system independent of asking the city for maintenance funds.
And then just to follow up on that question, do you feel that Outhouse is capable of maintaining that responsibility? And I ask this specifically for one reason, that is because most recently we had question brought to us about docks being placed at Rotary Park, and at the time I asked the city manager during this one of these meetings why they weren't in, and his response, and he may have easily misspoken and not been correct in this, was that by the time they figured out where to place them with the low water Outhouse Consortium, didn't have the time to place those. So I just want to be ensured that you all will have the time to care for this project if we're putting $150,000 into that.
To speak to the future, like I said, we're hoping to be able to. I truly do. As far as the docks, I'm not specifically familiar with what you're referring to, although that's not necessarily my area with the group. So I mean, I know Tyler worked with us on the docks as well. I'm not overly, he might be able to speak to that better than I can. I don't know that he necessarily wants me to drag him into that conversation either. I know there was some issues with low water this year, particularly one at Rotary Park that never went in because truly when it went in, it sat on the bank or on, I guess, would be the ground, the bottomlands that were exposed. But yes, the goal is to hopefully be able to maintain it. To say definitively, absolutely, no, I can't say that to you today.
Thank you.
So,
Thanks.
of course, I'm a consultant. I've been paid by Outhouse. But my observation after I've been in the professional trail building industry since 2019, worked with lots of communities and people like Outhouse, they've got the steps in place, the pieces in place to effectively maintain and manage the property. Ken and a number of members attended a Trails Conference with me this past spring in Madison, where they're actively trying to learn the industry standards and do the right things to become educated and be able to manage it themselves. So from a professional perspective, I see all the right pieces here. I see LTC at the table, I see the local nonprofit at the table, and now I see the city council at the table. And so for me, those are the three things I look for a successful project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Commissioner Rubenstein.
Is someone, Commissioner Abusa mentioned it, is somebody able to clarify where that comment came from or what it really meant of there being concern by depleting the spendable of the fund? Who actually said it, or where did that concern fester from?
I think that comment came from, I mean, you just looking back on past city capital projects where we use the seal fund for capital improvement. So I mean, to drain it right down, which to say it only got so high because I built, before my time, from what I'm being brought into from history, it grew because of COVID. There were no meetings happening. There was years that went by, there wasn't projects happening. So that's my understanding of it. I don't know fully. I mean, back the T-bills that it was invested in was a high rate of return. So it only took a couple years for that to get that high. So going forward now with it not being invested at such a high rate, I mean, the rate of return, like I said, was $40,000 depending on that the yearly rate. So just in terms of if we have capital projects coming up, what kind of capital grab can we do, just internally without external asks? I think that's where the comment came from, really. So.
Thank you. And then, in your opinion, was the first $30,000 MOU were the requirements followed in terms of the 30%, 90% and final design review?
Yep, we received all those documents. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Commissioner. Anybody else? And I think in our packet, one of the attachments was the sealed trust uses, and I think it's worth noting that this is only the net income from the trust. And it also says net income from the trust, property distributed to the beneficiary shall be used by the beneficiary in its sole discretion for the purposes of expanding the present recreation system, playgrounds and parks of the beneficiary, and for the acquisition of new recreation sites by the beneficiary. So seems to fit in line with what the intended use is. And to Director Perrin's credit, typically we probably would use that money annually, so it wouldn't be sitting in a fund. It should be used to expand our recreation base. So, any other questions or comments? Do we have somebody that'd like to make a motion as requested? Commissioner Rubenstein.
Motion to approve an allocation of seal funds for the Ashman Creek Trail System construction in an amount of $144,000 to reimburse project costs to Outhouse Consortium.
Support.
So there is motion and support. Any further discussion? Can we get a roll call, please, since we need a count?
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Bastos Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Habusta,
No.
Commissioner Marble,
Yes.
Commissioner Rubenstein.
Yes.
Motion passed on a 6-1 vote. Second motion, Commissioner Rubenstein.
Motion to approve a budget amendment to fund this phase of the project in the amount of $144,000 to come from the SEAL operating fund.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion also passed on a 6-1 vote. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Moving on in the agenda to H, City Manager announcements and updates. Acting City Manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. First item is the 2025 fall leaf collection dates and routes. Our Public Service Department is going to start their leaf pickup October 27th, and, you know, as leaves fall, crews will collect loose or paper landscaping bags of leaves. Plastic bags will not be picked up. Bags containing garbage or other yard waste will not be picked up as well. There is a map out on the city's website or on the city's Facebook page. They're gonna, the week of October 27th, east of Ashland on Monday and Tuesday, Ashland to I-75 on Wednesday, and west of I-75 Thursday and Friday, and they'll continue as weather permits.
Thank you very much. And item
Item
two.
two, I have a couple other things to it I didn't
Okay.
have on there. Item two is the 2025 Pierce Enforcer Heavy Duty Rescue Pumper. Our brand-new fire pumper has arrived. It is in service. It will be out back of City Hall. If anybody would like a tour of the new fire pumper, stop out and check it out. Anything else to add, Chief?
No, you covered it.
All right. So it is out back. Anybody in the public wants to check it out, it'll be there for you to check out. Then just a couple other things, if I may. This weekend downtown, there's a lot of events happening. There is the Trunk or Treat that is happening on Friday, October 24th, 6:30 p.m. at the Farmers Market Pavilion. The 4th Annual Parade of Frights. Registration is open. The deadline is Wednesday, October 22nd. That is Friday, October 24th at 6:30. You can submit a registration to amanda.lockcity@gmail.com. We also have the downtown Trick or Treat that's on Friday, and then Fall Fest that is on Saturday. So lots of events happening in the downtown. I encourage everybody to get out and enjoy them, and hopefully the weather is good. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Acting City Manager. Any questions on those? All right, moving on into item I, which is matters presented by the public. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time?
Hello again, Jill Rambo. I wasn't going to talk. I just wanted to listen today. But your questions on the snow plowing bid hit me wrong. So that is a DDA item. They contract that out. You guys approve it. And then the possible questions from all of you about spending our principal shopping district to cover the shortfall is not okay. There are specific rules to that to be spent, and that is, I think, to promote shopping and some other activities. I could be completely wrong. I haven't looked into it. But we get so little from our DDA for you all to question the shortfall to be used from our principal shopping district for people who don't bother to pay because they didn't collect last year is not okay. And I guess that's what I have to say on that. It's our DDA is in such bad shape, and then to have that be the thing that you go to towards funding it is, and then poor Mr. Perrin got in on that conversation. I mean, he doesn't even have anything to do with the bid. Like, I mean, I think the DDA director is responsible for that. So it's unfortunate that he had to give that. I would have thought someone else from the DDA or someone would have presented that package. that's just my comment on that. Secondly, on a personal note, not a business standpoint, I live on John and 8th, right down the street. I think that's 7th, I don't even know, but 1 block away is the corner. Every winter, it is an extreme mess. I haven't spoke to the street department. I'm going to do that after this meeting, but just to kind of give you a heads up, it happens every year, and it cost me $3,000 this spring or late summer to fix my car because of the pothole on that street. The poor neighbor that lives directly across from all those potholes got stuck crossways in the street. She pulled out of her driveway and was stuck just like that. She had to call a record to get out. Something about the water from the hill doesn't drain correctly, creating large ice potholes. The street right now is perfectly wonderful. There are no potholes, no nothing. But every year this continually happens. I've lived there for 30 years. This is not a new thing. And I don't understand why some concerted effort to figure out exactly what has to be done and budget for it. Like, I know that it's not just like, hey, let's pop up and fix this expenseful thing, but like, I mean, in the last 30 years, it seems like it could have been fixed by now. So yeah, I'm hoping to avoid that street at all costs. I don't need another $3,000 bill to fix my car. I have pictures if anyone would like to see them. I did file a police report as well. So, but I'll talk to the park or the street department too. But I just wanted you to be aware of an ongoing problem there.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else in the audience?
Hi, Lori Jarvie. Just to kind of jump on what Jill was saying, I don't know if the city, what the long-term plans are, and we live in, like we talked about, we have snow and we get several feet every year. What I hear from multiple people though is, you know, compared to what we had in previous years, as far as the street department, I don't know what the city's plan is. Like, is there a plan to budget down the road to get more plowing equipment, to be able to put more staff? Because I know, in talking with city workers that have been retired, like, I feel like the staff has been decreased significantly. Even last year, I contacted Mr. Perrin before our holiday shopping weekend because our snowbanks were so high. And bless his heart, he got, you know, it's like, I promised, like, I'll try to get the guys out and, you know, get the banks moved before that weekend. They were able to get one side of the street done, but then, of course, we got hit with a bunch of snow again. I just feel it puts a lot of pressure on them. They're working around the clock, you know, and it's like, it sounds like maybe the city, we don't pay overtime, but we can't just sit here and say, well, that's just how it is, or it's like, I guess what I would like to hear in a response, I can talk to somebody after in the future, is I hear a lot of things saying, like, you know, and like, you know, just like even with the snow plowing bid for the sidewalk, it's like, it's a broken system, but yeah, but let's keep going. But I don't hear discussions about, okay, this is broken, so in future years, like, I know it's the end of October, we're kind of set for this year, but I don't hear discussions of what we're gonna do when we take these broken systems. How are we gonna make it work? How are we gonna adjust the budget for future years? Get Mr. Perrin in the street department more equipment and get our city downtown back functioning, because as a business owner in the wintertime, it's terrible. I have people that come in the spring and they go, oh, we would love to come down shopping, but I'm not climbing a snowbank. And I'm not gonna walk, you know, 200 feet down to find a little cut in to get there. It makes it really, really hard as a business owner to hear that, because we're already struggling in the wintertime. And I just want to see, and Mayor Gary, I hear you say over and over again about strong leadership and wanting a thriving downtown, but actions are not matching and like I said, this is now like the 5th, 6th meeting in 3 weeks. We're tired. Those of us, the downtown, we are so tired. I didn't even want to come tonight. I'm so exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted because what we're experiencing, I just feel like there's not a lot of people on board with us. And I want to see some action from you guys. So, thank you.
Thanks for your comments, Lori.
One small thing, Jill Rango again.
Sure.
This is what I really wanted to say, but then the principal shopping district thing kind of threw me off. I know Matt gave you a lot of information and a lot of numbers and a lot of rules. You know, he took the time to look all of that up. And I encourage all of you to maybe go back in the minutes or rewatch the meeting and write those down and research them. You know, there may be very validity to his claims that things have gone on wrong. Like, and it's like a derelict of your duties not to investigate and to look into this. And just to say the lawyer, yeah, he said it was okay. Because, you know, he just didn't pull this out of his hat. So I would really hope that some of you look closer at what was said by Matt today.
Thanks for your comments. Anybody else?
Oh, one last thing for me.
Sure.
The DDA, we only meet once a month, and our director's been removed. So I'll just put it to Mayor Gary or our liaison. We're only a year away from the TIF renewal. If we plan to orchestrate not renewing that, I think you should let the businesses know, because we know that this should be worked on. Other people have hired a consultant to work on that, and we have not. I asked before I resigned a year and a half ago to do that. I was told, no, we're not going to do that. We don't need a professional, and we knew at that time that's bunk. We need a professional to do this. Of course we do. But that's what the sitting manager said at that time. In addition, we were told when we had somebody for affordable housing downtown kind of thing, and we paid some advisor, and he met with landlords and things like that, that was supposed to be somehow related to the TIP and downtown. That's how that was communicated to the DDA. I'd like to know, after we paid that money, where the report is for that DDA. I'd like to know any proposal for the TIP, who's going to handle that. When we have our director removed forcibly, we ought to have our board stepping up, our elected officials stepping up. This is done intentionally, so somebody has to fill that void. And we certainly know in the last 18 months, no one filled the void on the DDA board. So we need to address how that's going to happen, because this can't happen in 2026. We can't do our normal, oh, well, we'll wait for how long for a new director. We've got a TIF to do. And really, if you plan on taking the TIF back, just say so. Let's just be honest about it, and let's not. I don't think you want the TIF to go, because I think you want to give it to Headwaters to manage. That's been the plan, and I think that's why the DDA director was stalled and why the board members were stalled. And if you intend on doing that, is Nikki actively working on that? Is Nikki, and I don't know her, and I've heard she's lovely, but supposedly we've entered into some kind of an agreement where we have to pay her money. Is she not informed of the snowplow contract? That's a DDA issue. It has nothing to do with the city. You stamp it every year. But we collect that. And why we only collected 16 last year? Because the DDA board sat on their hands. Because sometimes it takes a little door knocking, and they go and they get the money, and people forget because businesses are busy, or they hope we forget. But you didn't collect money last year because you didn't collect money. I mean, you just didn't go get it. And right, wrong, or indifferent, that's how it's worked. That's how he's collected it. So we need to know who's going to stand in the gap now that our leadership has been removed, and we don't have a full board. We have plenty of members that have applied. We had some that applied previously. We have a new appointer, and so I'm wondering where, after 2 weeks and in this dire need, where are our appointments? I was expecting some qualified nominees to be appointed this week let's get going, guys. We've taken, Mayor Gary has taken over this job, so let's get some members seated and let's get going. I mean, we don't want somebody there in name. If it was so important, then let's get to work. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments, Sue Ann. Anybody else? Sure.
Quickly, Levi Cron, I'm a member of the board of Outhouse. The idea for the Ashland Creek Trail was started with me. I have 4 sons. They're young. This is going to be something great for the community, for not only kids, but for adults. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Awesome, thank you. Thanks for your comments. Anybody else? If you could come up, please, and state your name for the record.
My name is Nancy Berlinger, and I live at 409 East Portage. And I talked to Scotty, And from my understanding, they're gonna take that light out at Johnson and Portage. Anybody know?
No, it's a MDOT, I guess we'd have to,
Okay, well, I called MDOT,
okay,
and they're laying it on you.
Okay.
And saying that you people know that they're gonna take that light out.
so if we
I
could,
spoke to Newberry,
okay,
and I believe his name is Jake. And I said to him, I said, now, it started in June, and they were doing it for 3 months, some kind of a survey or whatever. So I tried to explain to him that in June, the puller is closed, so there's not a whole lot of activity. They just started in September, and in the month of October, there's been 3 accidents there already, and the last one was on Friday. Guy totaled his car. I don't think it's a good idea to take that light out. One of the reasonings he said is that it's old, needs to be updated at the tune of $500,000. Is somebody's life worth $500,000? I don't know. I think it's very wrong, and you guys need to do something about that. When they were hauling that salt, do you know how fast those trucks go? Shakes my whole house. And it's not just 1 or 2 trucks. It's all day long, those trucks went. Wintertime, when they're hauling snow, you know how fast those trucks go with all that snow? Pretty darn fast. So I don't know what you're gonna do, but I hate to see that light come out because it's gonna be a disaster. They also asked if I would contact the police, which I don't think is gonna do any good, and the fire department. I don't know what they're gonna do. But you guys need to do something and not have that light taken out there.
thank you for your comments, Mrs. Berlinger, and, you could, talk to acting city manager, Troyer, if you could set up a time, maybe tomorrow,
Okay.
and, discuss it.
It's just
and,
a matter of time before somebody gets
that-
killed there.
No, we
It's a
appreciate your
very busy-
comments, and that's certainly within, her purview as, manager, so.
And it's, you know, sad that it's old, but I've lived there for 65 years, and it is old, and I don't care if it costs $500,000, you gotta fix that light and have it. So,
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Sure.
I think I'm shorter than everybody else. Hi, I'm Dana Sanderson, and I just want to say it's been a rough 2 weeks for a lot of people for a lot of reasons, but I feel like a lot of people much smarter than me are dealing with a lot of those issues. And so what I wanted to do tonight, just quickly, is you know how it seems like our phones are listening to us? Well, I'm sure they are. So this morning when I got up, I had a little thing on mine that said, when you're captivated by purpose, you won't be distracted by drama. So let's think about that. And what I've been doing over the last few days, maybe the last week, is gathering information from local city entities looking at strategic, their mission statements and strategic planning. And then I did a little informal poll on my own Facebook page, and I said, hey, what, aside from an Olive Garden, which I'm tired of listening to people say, we need an Olive Garden, but I asked people what they thought we needed downtown, what would make a good downtown. And here's what I found, and I'll try to speak quickly because I know it's already 9 o'clock. So from the entities, city entities that I looked at, here are some things in their strategic planning. Increase number of downtown businesses, expand and improve signage and wayfinding, develop downtown beautification initiatives, create more public spaces for residents and visitors downtown, attract more cultural events and festivals downtown, improve downtown experience, strengthen and expand facade grants. So those are probably through professionally developed strategic planning. Here are what the local citizens said: more businesses, more signage, aesthetically appealing look and feel downtown, improving the atmosphere of downtown, create more community gathering spaces for people to gather in a downtown square atmosphere, more events and festivals, more playgrounds, tables downtown, food trucks, continue historic restoration and enforce maintenance of buildings. So if you look at those two lists, they're very much aligned. And I obviously weeded out some of the extra things. I did get a lot of good feedback, and if anybody wants to see that on my personal Facebook page, you can kind of read people's comments. But I think that it's this purpose, it's this idea of purpose that's really important, that we're going to be wading through the quagmires all the time. That's just how it is. And city politics, you all know better than anybody else. But I think that as a downtown property owner and as a downtown business owner, that my goal, and many of our goals, is to create a better downtown, a stronger downtown, to get people back downtown so that we can be successful economically. It's really difficult. And a lot of business owners that are here tonight would tell you that we've just kind of gotten through a horrendous year as far as dollars and cents. I intend to be back in front of you again, so get used to seeing me because I will be back. I have a little game that I don't really want to play tonight that's called So You Want to Buy a Historic Building in Downtown Sault Ste. Marie. We'll do that at another meeting. But I think it's really important that we continue to convey not only to the City Commission, but also to the CVB, the Chamber of Commerce, the EDC, what our needs are, what we would like to do, and not just that we bring it in the form of complaint or that we make suggestions, fix this, but we say we definitely want to be part of the change. We have suggestions, we have positive suggestions, and we want to be part of the change. We want to be helpful to that. We can't do it alone, but I think that it's really not reasonable to expect that we can come to the City Commission or to any of the other entities that I named and say, fix what's wrong, because that's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen in a year. This is going to be a layered process. But I believe it can happen, and I think everybody here that owns a business or owns properties downtown would tell you that they're still here because they still believe that there is the potential to be successful and for our city to get better. If they didn't believe it, they would sell their properties if they could even find a buyer for them. Quite frankly, that's another story. But they would sell their properties and they would leave. And that's not happening. People are sticking around, and they're sticking around because they do think there's potential. So that's all I wanted to say tonight. I think we need to continue to focus on some purpose here, and I think that we will work, and hopefully you will work with us to try to figure out better solutions and ways to move forward so that our downtown can be the downtown that it should be, because right now it isn't, for sure. So that's it.
Thanks for your comments, Dana. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into item J, which is matters presented by the City Commission. Commissioners, Commissioner Marble.
I just have a quick question. Any idea where the obelisk is going to be relocated?
None. Maybe, hate to throw you on the spot, somebody from engineering, do you have any? I know there was a discussion the other day. Ah, there he is.
No.
Okay.
Simple answer. No idea. They even asked us if we had a spot for it, so they're still looking into it. Middle of the roundabout.
Okay.
U.S.
Thank you.
Army Corps of Engineers property, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers obelisk, and that is their project, so. Thanks for your question. Commissioner Rubenstein.
I just want to remind everyone, and speaking of getting people downtown, it is Great Lakes State weekend for Lake State this week. There's events for students all week, and starting on Wednesday, the Lake State Alumni Association is hosting Lake State After Hours at Maloney's. Everyone is welcome to come. There's going to be some complimentary food there, courtesy of the Alumni Association. The first 200 students that come in are going to get free T-shirts, and just a great opportunity to come hang out downtown and support Lake State as well at the same time. So hopefully we'll see you down there.
Thanks, Commissioner. Anybody? Commissioner Hubusta, you want to follow that up? No? Okay. Anybody else? Again, just a reminder that October 30th, which is Thursday at 10 a.m., is the harvesting of the local trees, so please attend. Commissioner Bauer.
Could displace a bunch of squirrels. Your Honor, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Support.
Motion and support, all in favor say aye.
Aye.